From the very moment that the Echo series was announced from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, most fans expected it to be another dumpster fire, especially when we started hearing about all the problems they had with production. The fact that they needed to reshoot almost the entire series. The fact that Kevin Feige himself wanted to just cancel it, wanted to throw it away, wanted to say, no, we're done, let's Batgirl this thing, but they decided not to. One, because they knew they'd have almost no content with the strikes, and two, because they virtue signaled so hard, simply because they made this series and they pushed this character because it's a woman, because she's indigenous, because she's only got one leg, and of course, because Echo is deaf. So they had to do it. And what did they end up doing? What was their strategy? Let's dump it all on the same day. Let's put it on 2 different streaming services, put it out there, let people make fun of it, and then hopefully they'll forget about it very quick. Well, you know what? If that was their strategy, it worked pretty well, to be honest with you. Not what most people want, right? Most people actually want people talking about their series for longer than a few days. But when people think that it's as bad as most people thought it was, not just stereotypical bad Marvel fare, but by the end, went completely off the rails with more MCU girl boss nonsense, Echo was a disaster. And we found out, despite the mainstream media and despite Disney trying to tell everybody that this thing was a massive success, because hey guys, we put something new on 2 different streaming services. And guess what? For one single day, it was the top thing on those streaming services, on both Hulu and Disney+. We're talking about a massive amount of potential viewers across both of those platforms. They didn't give us any numbers, and there's a reason why, because it actually did horrifically bad. But then we started to get real numbers. When we finally got the Samba TV numbers for the week that Echo premiered, we realized that not only was it not the top thing on Disney+, that was Percy Jackson, but in fact, despite it being on Disney+ and Hulu at the same time, it barely cracked into the top 10. Even one of the least viewed MCU series, Secret Invasion, the second lowest ratings for that show other than Miss Marvel, even that when it debuted, was at number 2. Now, of course, those things can be different depending on what's being released. And Samba TV, if you remember, counts the number of households that are watching something, not the amount of hours or minutes that people tune in, but simply how many people tune in a given week to watch this series. And Echo barely cracked the top 10. Well, now here we are, and the second week of Echo, the second week of ratings is finally available, and spoiler alert, Echo is nowhere to be seen or heard of, for that matter, since we're talking about Echo. Completely fallen out of the top 10. Embarrassingly bad, but like we said for a long time, this was kind of always their strategy, wasn't it? Because they didn't actually want people to talk about this. They didn't want people talking about it week after week after week. They wanted it to completely disappear from the radar, and they likely knew it would, and that's what's happened. It got mocked and ridiculed and shamed for about a week, and now it's just completely out of the zeitgeist because it had no staying power. And it was really funny to see people, take this headline that didn't involve any actual numbers being revealed for Disney. It was also really funny to see people use things like TV Line, which aren't even ratings. Those are based off essentially social media mentions and metrics and things like that that don't have anything to do with people actually tuning in and say, oh, look how good it did. Yeah, there was a lot of people on social media talking about it, saying how shitty it was. Probably way more than for some of these other shows that are out there. But when it comes to people actually tuning in and watching it, instead of a bunch of hashtags on social media from people who may or may not be real, yeah, it's pretty safe to say that Echo was a complete and total dumpster fire. There's a reason they thought about canceling it, and there's a reason they dropped it all at once, because they knew that this thing was shit. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. 1 week barely cracks in the top 10 of streaming programs, not even the top thing on Disney+, and it's combined with Disney and Hulu, and by its second week, completely drops out of the top 10. That is pathetic. We'll see what the Nielsen numbers are when they come out. Again, that's one way where I think they could look like it's bigger than it really was, because Nielsen numbers track minutes watched. Since they did all 5 episodes at once, that has a decent chance to accumulate some numbers, but we'll see what happens when those numbers do officially get revealed. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.